Haberler.com'dan merhabalar, ben Esra Öztürk. Bugün çevreyi, iklimi, doğal afetleri, Birleşmiş Milletler'in geçtiğimiz hafta yayınladığı iklim raporunu, 2021 iklim raporunu konuşacağız. Orman yangınlarıyla mücadele ettik. Şu anda çok daha farklı bir felaketle boğuşuyor Karadeniz bölgesi. Can kayıpları var. Devasa bir sel felaketi yaşanıyor pek çok ilde. Kayıplar var, haber alınamayan insanlar var. Maalesef son derece üzücü gelişmeler. Ve fakat hepsi bir iklim krizinin neticesi. Bu konuyu konuşmak üzere önemli bir konuğum var. Birleşmiş Milletler Eski Çevre Programı Direktörü, aynı zamanda Norveç Eski İklim ve Çevre Bakanı Erik Solheim konuğum olacak. Mr. Solheim, thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure and honor to speak to you and be with so many Turkish people.
Thank you. Just before starting the show, we were talking about you visited Turkey many times, and do you want to make any comments on the unfortunate events, the forest fires that we passed last week, and right now we're experiencing huge floods in the Black Sea region?
Well, Turkey is probably the only nation in the world who has been doubly hit by climate events these last couple of months. Both the forest fires, because in the Antalya, Mugli region at the Mediterranean coast and spreading to other areas as well, and the great floods in the Black Sea region. Well, many other nations have also been hit. There have been floods in Germany, in China, in India, even forest fires also in Greece and in the United States. So Turkey is not alone, but no other nation have been hit in this double fashion, both by forest fires and flooding. And of course my sympathy is with all those people who have lost their dear ones, have lost beautiful nature, their belongings, their equipment, and so it's very, very sad. This, by the way, is exactly what was we were told by the International Panel for Climate Change would happen. They 10 years back said that Mediterranean is particularly vulnerable to wildfires, and we have seen now that very high temperature over a very long time has led to these very sad developments.
Yeah, last month Germany and some other European countries, I think including Belgium, they had a huge floods, and up to 200 people lost their lives. So if to make a comparison, I want to start talking environment and this climate report. What about the challenges that developing countries are having regarding this climate change?
There is a double challenge. First, developing countries, of course, need to prepare for higher temperatures and climate change. In the case of Turkey, I know that there have been a lot of discussions about issues like how to buy more planes to be more prepared for wildfires and be able to put them out in a faster way. So society need to prepare for floods, make the buildings in areas which are less prone to flooding, make the buildings in such a way that they will not be destroyed by flooding, and of course make preparations for bringing people out of wildfire zones and flooding zones when it happens. So it's a matter of preparation. But then it's also of course a matter of slowing the speed of climate change and make sure it doesn't happen in a major way. And then developing nations, as developed nations, and Turkey is kind of in between. It's not a very poor nation, but it's not as rich as Germany. We all need to change into renewable energy. We need to abandon coal, moving fast into solar and wind energy, move into electric transport, and do massive tree planting and greening of the surface, because then we will be much more prepared for future disasters.
Yeah, these are the natural disasters, and we never know when they're going to come, right? So can we talk about certain measures, regarding the flood? Because that's why I was giving the flood example, which happened last month in Germany. Up to 200 people lost their lives. What type of measures can we take? What type of precautions can we have?
I think most people were surprised that 200 people died in such an advanced and well-prepared society like Germany. Germany is among the most developed nations in the world and among the most well-functioning societies in the world. Still, they were taken aback. They were not prepared. They had not expected these massive flooding, in particular in the Rheinland-Pfalz province. So the unpreparedness of Germany in reality, I think, surprised everyone. So it shows that every nation in the world has a big job to do to be better prepared. We cannot exactly tell when floodings and wildfires or extreme weather will happen, but we know for sure that we will have more of it in the years to come, because that's the clear prediction from the International Panel for Climate Change. We will have a lot more extreme weather on planet Earth, and we need to prepare for it.
Okay, I want to ask you, who are paying price for climate change? Is there a proportionate troubles and the results of this case?
Obviously, in the end, every citizen on the planet, even the billionaires, will pay a price for climate change. But the most vulnerable are poor people in poor nations, small island development states, which may even disappear from the surface in the worst of cases, people in drought-prone areas of Africa with very little opportunities except farming, people like around the Ganga river in India, which may be very, very severely hit by ice melting in the Himalayas, which may make Ganga part of the year river and may not be water for the entire year. So there are specific societies and parts of the world which are particularly vulnerable. Turkey, of course, is a big nation, a high population, very many different environment zones in Turkey, from quite arable to very, very dry areas. So Turkey has also a big job to do to prepare the different parts of Turkey for warmer weather and for more extreme weather.
What if a country cannot invest on green economies, a not developed country or developing countries? How to render these policies or investments, industry, more green? Tell us your recommendations on that, please.
Yeah. It's an excellent question, and that is the very good news. While there are bad news in the sense that we will have to prepare for more climate change, the good news is that the climate-friendly technologies are now so cheap that are the cheapest technologies. If you go back to the 20th century, obviously the way to develop was clear. Everyone first you develop, and when you have developed, you clear up the mess and you stop the pollution. But that's the 20th century. Then you needed coal and oil and gas to develop. But now, solar energy is the cheapest energy anywhere in the world. Indeed, solar energy in India today is the cheapest energy which has ever existed. So from the old development model of building a development on coal, now we can build our development on environment-friendly technologies. And then we go into the win-win policies. This is a win for Mother Earth and environment, win for jobs and prosperity, and a win for people's life and health. So we can now move very, very fast. It's not costly, it's cheaper if you go into solar and wind energy rather than coal.
Let's talk about United Nations 221 climate report. So it was a red alarm for humanity. Tell us, what should ordinary people understand from the report? What should we do for our future, for a green future?
They should understand that change is urgent. It's not anything we can postpone to 10 or 20 or 30 years into the future. We need to act absolutely urgently, to act now. That means prepare for more extreme weather, but it also means change the economy into the environment-friendly technologies. They are all available. China now has more than 50% of all the solar energy in the world. They're very, very fast, moving from the old coal-based economy into solar and wind and hydrogen. They have 99% of all electric buses in the world are in China, because the rest of the world need to copy and learn from that. So if you move into electric vehicles, electric buses, electric ferries, electric cars, you move into environment-friendly energy systems, environment-friendly agriculture, ecotourism. Turkey is a major tourist nation. The tourist industry can be made in such a way that you draw a lot of tourists and create enormous amount of jobs while doing it in an environment-friendly way. So it's just to turn around the economy in every way into these new green possibilities, which create many more jobs than the old economy, while at the same time taking much better care of nature.
Mr. Solheim, what is our future up to? Are we going through a food crisis too? That's also important.
Yeah, this is absolutely up to us. If we continue the business as usual, don't change, well, we will have to be up to major problems on planet Earth. However, if we embrace these new, fascinating, fantastic opportunities of green energy, green agriculture, green transport, well, then we will very, very rapidly move into a much, much better future with more jobs and with better nature. Very interestingly, the two most powerful persons on planet Earth, the American President Joe Biden and the Chinese President Xi Jinping, they both see the environment transformation of their nations not as a problem, not as a cost, but as an enormous opportunity to make life better for Americans and Chinese and take better care of the planet at the same time. Agriculture is part of that. We need to change our agriculture into less emitting, less use of fertilizers, less use of pesticides, and an agriculture is reuse what's thrown away in agriculture in a new and better way. But the technologies are there. Let's just embrace them.
There's a trap which developing countries are falling into. It's economic development and protecting environment. They're just stuck between these two because economic development is mostly based on industry and even construction. So, do you think this is a big challenge or trouble for developing countries, and how will they overcome this?
That was the exact good question for the 20th century. Because development happened exactly the way you said. I mean, it started in the United Kingdom, and spread to Germany, then spread to the United States, then to Japan, to Korea, and then to places like China, Turkey, and others. And first you pollute, and then you clean up. But now we don't need that paradigm any longer, because environment-friendly technologies are not only the best for Mother Earth, but they're also the cheapest. It's now much, much cheaper anywhere in the world to establish a solar power plant than to establish a coal fire plant. So let's establish the solar ones that are cheaper and better. There are some obstacles. Governments need to work with business to make this happen in a smooth way. Maybe you need to make some changes in the grid. There are issues you need to face, but that's why we have political leaders and business leaders to face these obstacles and move in the right direction.
So I think right now it's a good idea to go back to the United Nations climate report. Please tell us your key points.
The key points are people are affected by climate change now. It's not a theoretical proposition for the future. It's here and now. It's wildfires, it's floodings, it's hurricanes, and it's sea level rise. It's a major issue affecting people's life now. Second, we need to change. We need to prepare for this more extreme weather. But most importantly, we need to change into the low emission future. But all those technologies are there. I mean, they will be developed. We will see a new fourth industrial revolution on the planet Earth with new and better technologies. And we'll see information technology merge with environment-friendly, low-carbon emission technologies. I mean, all this will happen. But the technologies are here and now. They are available, and any nation can use them. And Turkey, which has a strong leader in President Erdoğan, which has strong political opposition also with different political parties, have an enormous opportunity to embrace these technologies and be a global leader in this necessary shift.
Lastly, I would ask you your own experience from Norway. You were the Minister of Climate and Environment, so that sounds very nice because the Ministry of Climate, it means that you are very sensitive and focused on this issue. What would you recommend to the policymakers in Turkey?
it's all about the political will. If you know where you are heading, you will be able to go there. I spoke the other week with the head of Ørsted, which is today the biggest wind maker in the world. It's a Danish company. One decade back, it was an oil company. It did all oil. And now it's the biggest wind maker, one of the 2 or 3 biggest wind companies in the world. How did that change happen? He said, we just decided we wanted to change. Then we faced some difficulties, and there were some staff who didn't like it, there were some customers who didn't like it, but mainly there was an enormous enthusiasm for the shift, and we made it happen because we had the will. That's also my experience from government. When governments have the will, they can make it happen. For instance, one of the big success stories in Norway is our penetration of electric cars. Now 65% of all new cars bought in Norway this year are electric. Fully 100% electric.
65% of the cars in Norway
65% of all new cars which people buy this year are electric.
In your country, in Norway, yeah?
In my country, yeah. There are more electric cars in China than in Norway because of the much higher population, but as a percentage, we have the highest. Why is that? Because government set the right policies. The government said if you want to buy an electric car, you get an introductory offer. So we changed the tax system so that electric cars become cheaper in comparison with petrol cars. And we make another introductory offer for you. If you buy an electric car, you can run in the bus lanes, so you get faster to the job in the morning, and you don't pay a fee if you go in a tunnel or across a bridge where there is a fee. And all of a sudden, people started buying electric cars, and now no one wants to change back because electric cars are much smoother, much better engines, it's simply a much better car. But you need this introductory offer by the government to start buying it. And then everyone sees that, all my neighbors are buying an electric car, because I will do it also, because I know this is the future. And just a few weeks back, Volkswagen, the German car maker, the biggest car company in Europe, said we will abandon the gasoline cars. It's a thing of the past. We will go all out electric, and in the future, all our cars will be electric. So this change, we are in the start of this change, but it just need to take speed. And then the lesson is governments need to lead, but business will do the job by the new technologies, taking the change to scale.
Lastly, tell us about your daily routines, about the people, how they care on climate change in their personal lives, you know? Turning off the lights, using less water.
Yeah. I'm not in the business of going around finger pointing to people, because the main changes we need are from political leaders changing the policies and from the big stars of business.
Mr. Erik Solheim, thank you for joining me from Norway, former Minister of Climate and Environment of Norway and former Director of United Nations Environment Programme. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, my pleasure.
Norveç Eski İklim ve Çevre Bakanı, aynı zamanda Birleşmiş Milletler Çevre Programı eski Direktörü Erik Solheim'e konuk ettik. Norveç'ten yayınımıza katıldı. Çok kısa özetleyelim neler konuştuk. Öncelikle Türkiye'ye geçmiş olsun dileklerini iletti. Yangınlar ve şu anda hali hazırda Karadeniz'de devam eden sel felaketiyle ilgili. Birleşmiş Milletler'in çevre raporunda dikkat çeken başlıklara değindi. Aslında rapor bize ne söylüyor, ne yapmamızı ve ne yapmamamızı söylüyor. Bir kırmızı alarm veriyor demiştik. Bundan bahsetti. Deniz seviyesi yükseliyor. Herkesin anlayabileceği bir dilde konuşmak gerekirse sıcaklıklar artıyor. Deniz seviyesi yükseliyor. Kuraklık artıyor. Kuraklık beraberinde bir tarım krizi, bir gıda krizi getirecek. Çok daha zor zamanlar bekleyecek bizi eğer değişmezsek ve dönüşmezsek dedi Erik Solheim. Yeşil ekonomi, yeşil politikalar, teşvikler bu konuların özellikle kamu politikalarının insanların bireysel çabalarından ziyade çok daha önemli olduğunu söyledi. Norveç'teki tecrübelerini sorduğumda ise insanlar bu konuyla ilgili ne yapıyorlar, nasıl tercihlerde bulunuyorlar elbette kamu teşvikleriyle beraber. Bu sene Norveç'te alınan araçların %65'i elektrikli. Pek çok başlık konuştuk. Altyazılı olarak izlediniz. Teşekkürler. Hoşça kalın.